Are you ready to stop the self-sabotage and create the life you desire? Well, in order for that to happen, you need to break free from the bad beliefs that are holding your success hostage. You need to optimize the stress by turning it into extra energy for success. And those hurtful habits? Well, we need to give that pain a purpose for progress. Welcome to Stop the Self-Sabotage and Create the Life You Desire podcast. How harmful would it be to a baby that is ready to crawl and walk if it is confined and not allowed to explore its environment? Let's say that the caretaker is going, you know what, I just want you to stay in this one room. I'll add more toys. Well, the baby is naturally going to gravitate to places it hasn't been before. And the person brings him back and says, no, let's stay in this one room. It's easier for me to keep an eye on you. Okay. Well, the subconscious, which is the aspect of us that runs all of our habits and patterns, it runs off of two loops. And that is either going to be developing our competency, our skill set, our focus, our emotional optimization, implementation for impact, or it's going to perpetuate the past. So when a child is looking to develop itself to its next level, and it is hobbled by having to stay in the same place, it experiences what is known as failure to thrive. Its internal systems no longer look to adapt, but instead to maladapt. Yesterday we talked about self-sabotages because of this, and we discovered those hurtful habits of self-sabotage are simply symptoms of an unresolved core wound. And so we can make the decision, I'm going to heal from what happened to me in the past. But there is a hidden trap to healing that you can get stuck in it, just like our child who is wanting to grow beyond and explore and see what else was out there. If it is continued, if your subconscious is continued to be brought back to a healing phase, it's going to continue to perpetuate the past and find more things that should be hurting you. So what is it that we need to do? Well, first we know that we have an unresolved core wound. Now, the universal core wounds are abandonment, rejection, unworthiness, and invalidation. You are going to personalize that to your unique experience. And those core wounds then lead to maladaptive behaviors. These are things that you do to try to keep from getting hurt again. This is where you overperform, overfunction, and overcompensate. But doing those things builds what's known as an allostatic load, which is dysfunctional stress that becomes chronic. And your system looks for temporary relief. And that's when you engage in self-sabotaging habits that will never get you resolution, but at least they'll make the hurt stop for a little bit. But those very self-sabotaging habits then reinforce the core wound with evidence that whatever they did to you, they were right. You are broken, you are unworthy, you are flawed, you cannot be fixed, you cannot be trusted. And so then we go into healing. But there are 3 levels that go beyond healing. And the subconscious wants to explore those. But if you're not aware that they exist, then you're going to get stuck in a limited loop. So we have healing, wholeness, thriving, and a life by design. We're going to cover core issues on each of these, required awareness and implementation, and then your plan of action that you can take based on what you discover about yourself today. So, core issue on healing. What is healing? It is restoring function from a past wound. It is recovery, but it is not forward creation. Okay? It's bringing you back to a baseline. I told you yesterday that I fell a couple of weeks ago. And I fell face forward on a cement walking path going out hiking with my daughter-in-law and granddaughter. And I put my arms up in front of me like I was going to do a push-up. And it's probably what saved me from something really horrible happening. But because of the way that I landed on my one arm and shoulder, I've damaged my rotator cuff. And so I've got an MRI planned and then meeting with the orthopedic doctor to see what my recovery plan is going to be like. Healing is just going to restore the use of my arm. It's not going to take it any further. That's what wholeness is for. So healing is just recovery, getting you back to where you should have been all along. The challenge with healing is that it takes effort. Oh, my physical therapy is going to take effort. I've been through something like this before. And you get incremental improvements. 20% effort gives you 20% results. And this is the reason why it is so hard to sustain the healing level, because you experience healing fatigue. It's exhaustion. So there is a required awareness as well as implementation. We can have awareness, but without action, we don't spiral up with the loops in our brain, in our neural pathways. And what we can wind up doing is spiraling down. Oh, we know a lot of stuff, but we don't have the wisdom because we never used it. Wisdom comes about by going, oh, I tried that physical therapy movement, and that one was not a good idea. Oh, but this one, I'm seeing effort. Let's focus on that. So your required awareness as well as implementation for healing is what's known as a pattern interrupt. You have to stop repeating the maladaptive protective responses. Remember, overperforming, overfunctioning, overcompensating. And then it's saying, okay, what are we going to put in its place? Because the subconscious will not tolerate a void. So you have to choose the new habits that you want to experience. If you stay in healing too long, as I said earlier, your subconscious is going to go, okay, well, we've healed. What's next? And if you don't put something in that space and place of what you just took out, the subconscious is going to find a new wound for you to address. And now you're stuck in perpetual repair and you're absolutely exhausted. I mean, it's just wearing me out thinking about it. So you want to be ready for the next level. What is the next level? This is wholeness. Wholeness is a restoration of what was lost as a result of the wound. This is actually biblical. When Jesus he came across the 10 lepers, or the 10 lepers came across him, and they're like, Rabbani, teacher, please heal us. And he did. And they left. They followed his instructions. Only one of them came back to say thank you. Now, when we talk about thriving, which is the next level past wholeness, I want you to notice when we talk about square roots, only one came back and said, thank you. And it said, Jesus made that man whole. This means that what was lost through the leprosy, the fingers, the toes, maybe his nose, was given back. That's the level of wholeness. Your mind, your emotions, your body, your spirit are now aligned. And you can say, Dawn, I had some terrible things happen to me whenever I was a kid. And I can't get that childhood back. No, you can't. You can't get the time back. But the experiences that you were supposed to have, the joy, the innocence, maybe the protection, those can come back around for you. So it's not necessarily the time. It's the results of the focus that is going to happen for you. And this is the level of addition. With integration, with the wholeness, with those pieces returning home, you're added back in with a renewed vitality and energy and wanting to seek out what else is there. But you need to be careful because the subconscious can get bored because it can feel like at times life is happening too slow. So your required awareness and implementation at this level is disruption, no longer allowing your past to script your present. Old labels are going to fall away, and you may mistake this for loss of self because you're discovering who you really are. Who were you always intended to be? That's what you're realizing. And then the next level is thriving. This is an abundance of opportunities because of that energy and that focus and those actions. Well, the ones that were at the previous level, now you're beginning to see results. Now you're beginning to have a harvest. And you're becoming aware of all the different ways that you can experience life. And this is where Price's principle comes into play. So I can have, let's say, a tomato plant that was doing really good, and it starts producing tomatoes, but some parts of it are getting too leggy and it can't support, even with the cage I put around the tomato plant, it can't support that. Well, I have to prune it back. I have to discern what do I need to cut in order to produce more tomatoes in the healthier areas. Price's principle basically says that out of people, the square root of a group will produce 50% of the results. And then the rest of the group will do the other 50. So if you have 10 people, square root is 1. Okay. 1 got to see extraordinary results. And the other 9 got to share in the leftovers. And it's the same way with our opportunities. It's the same way with our actions. We need to refine at this level. So your required awareness and implementation at this level is refinement, where what got you here can't take you any further. Impurities are burned off. If you were a silversmith and you were going to make some beautiful silver jewelry, well, you would need to heat up the silver until it was liquid. How would you know when it was at the correct temperature? When you were able to look into the liquid silver and it acts as a mirror, all the impurities have been burned off. And so now you can see the true reflection. See, it's at this level of thriving where people will go through refinement and they're like, what am I doing wrong? And I'm like, oh, let's focus on what you're doing right. Let's look at Price's principle. It's not that you're doing anything wrong. It's that it's wanting to let you know that some of the things that you've been engaging in, while it was great and it allowed you to get to this level, you cannot take these people, places, and things into the next level, which is living a life by your design. So our fourth level is when you move into creator mindset. It is based on desires. It is based on implementation through truth. And this is when we experience multiplication. So an apple seed, one apple seed planted, nurtured, nourished, doesn't result in just one more apple back. It's a tree that can yield hundreds, if not thousands of apples over its lifetime. So this is the level where you have choices, and then choices turn into direction, and direction turns into implementation. But you're not looking at, oh, this is just going to benefit me one-to-one. No, this is infinite reproduction. Required awareness and implementation at this level. You want to know that this is when you will be attacked. See, the first three levels were all internal, pattern interruptions and disruptions and refinement. It was all about what you had going on inside. But this level, now we're dealing with people on the outside. And they're going to want to take what you have. Number of reasons why. Usually it comes down to the fact that it's easier to take from you than for them to put in the effort for their own excellence. And when they're able to do that, then they have a sense of superiority and power over you. And that simply points to what's known as learned helplessness. Learned helplessness is, as the term says, it's learned, and it has 4 P's to it. It is personal. Oh, there must be something wrong with me. Permanent. Life is always going to be like this. Pervasive. It's like dandelions. It infiltrates every area of life. And then this is when it is represented in the subconscious as power over, power under. Learned helplessness says, I feel really small and then the big boogeyman is over me. Well, there are some people that will go into healing. How many? Look at Price's principle. There are some people who will go into healing. And then there are some people who will go into projection and go, oh, instead of me taking ownership and responsibility for my own results, instead, I'm going to take it out on you. Okay. So expect the attacks. And then when you get attacked, what happens? Oh, it'll trigger a wound that says, oh, there's some healing that needs to take place. But you're doing it at a higher level now. You're spiraling up. So you're like, oh, there's something here that needs to address a healing, a recovery. And then I can move into restoration. And then I can move into abundance. And now I have learned how to do a life by design based on becoming aware and informed from my past, not infected by it. Okay, so what's your plan of action? Determine your level so you can prepare for the next. Healing. Are you spending most of your energy repairing, recovering, and trying to manage your past? Has it maybe been enough? Wholeness. Do you feel integrated, but still defining who you are apart from past labels. Thriving. Are you producing results but noticing diminishing returns without the refinement? And life by design. Are you consciously building your processes and systems to multiply your results? You have a beautiful brilliance about you. It's what makes the world a better place. And somewhere along the line, someone tried to take that from you so they could benefit at your expense. It's time for you to take your brilliance back, because in case you haven't noticed, the world's a pretty dark place right now. And I want you to be able to shine brighter than ever before. Because when you put your light out there, you're living your legacy. Legacy is not something you leave when you're gone. It is something you show others how to do it right here and right now. That's the multiplication. So live your legacy. Bring out your brilliance and bring the light to the darkness.